Hello and I welcome you to this video. Today we'll be discussing some of the important literary terms, the knowledge of which will be of help to you in reading or appreciating literature of any genre, be it poetry or drama or prose. The first literary term that I'll talk about is soliloquy. Basically, soliloquy is an act of speaking one's thoughts aloud by oneself or regardless of any hearer or any listener, especially by a character in a play. So it's a monologue addressed to oneself, thoughts spoken out loud without addressing another person. And soliloquies are used as a device in drama to let a character make their thoughts known to the audience, to address it directly or take it into their confidence. Though it differs actually from a monologue, and we will discuss it after a short while. The use of soliloquies was most prominent in the English Renaissance drama. Take, for example, the soliloquies of Shakespeare and the soliloquies used by him in his plays like Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth. They were quite a big hits. For example, Hamlet's soliloquy of "to be or not to be" is a centerpiece of Shakespeare's Hamlet, and it instantly became quite popular. Like a soliloquy, a monologue too is a speech delivered by a single speaker. The difference between the two types of speech is its audience. That is, in a soliloquy, the speaker is giving a long speech to himself or to herself and or to the audience. In a monologue, the speaker is giving a long speech to other characters. So that's the basic difference between a monologue and a soliloquy. And similarly, a soliloquy differs from an aside. While in soliloquy, one person speaks for an extended duration while alone or while other characters cannot hear him. In contrast to a theatrical monologue, when multiple characters are on stage, a soliloquy is usually delivered by a character standing alone on a stage. So now if we talk about the intent of a soliloquy, so the main purpose of a soliloquy remains to acquaint the audience or the readers the secret thoughts or intentions that the character is having in his mind. It also puts light on the external relationships, thoughts, and the future actions related to the character and to the other characters of the drama. So we can say that in soliloquy, a character speaks to themselves, relating thoughts and feelings, thereby also sharing them with the audience, giving the illusion of unspoken reflections. Students, if you have ever been to a performance of any of Shakespeare's plays, you might have noticed times when the characters tell the audience their inner thoughts or feelings. It happens in other plays too, but Shakespeare is famous for it. And this speech telling the audience how they feel is called a soliloquy. In fact, there are certain emotions which can't get across, and the turmoil cannot be communicated simply. So that it becomes tough to understand what's going inside their heads, in the head of a character in a drama. So it's not surprising that the main purpose of a soliloquy is to tell the audience that how exactly the character is feeling, and it gives you a pretty much insight into the character. It shows the state of mind of the character. For example, in Shakespeare's play King Lear, his soliloquy demonstrates to the audience that he's going crazy. And similarly, in his play Hamlet, the famous soliloquy "to be or not to be," so that tells about the dilemma of Hamlet, and then it gives you crucial details. And in certain instances where action happens off stage, a soliloquy can keep you up to date on these current events, pushing the plot forward without showing it to you. I mean, sometimes the character just speaks something on the stage, he expresses his feelings, etc., and that's what gives the story a push. And then he can reveal his plans, and sometimes we root for the villain. So it could be because we understand them and their plans. And then it's about dramatic irony, because soliloquies add significantly to the implication of dramatic irony by revealing thoughts, feelings, and plans others in the play, which others don't know but we know, because the character speaks to us. I mean, we listen to him when he speaks to himself, so it adds to the dramatic irony. if we go by the literal meaning of soliloquy, then solo is taken from Latin, which means to oneself, and loquer mean I talk. So soliloquy is often used in drama when a character speaks to himself, relating thoughts and feelings, and the speaker shares with the audience his thoughts and feelings, or he gives off the illusion of being a series of unspoken reflections. While both aside and soliloquy consist of a character expressing their inner thoughts to the audience, and aside is shorter than a soliloquy. Or you can say an aside is a comment or remark directed towards the audience, and they hear what the other characters in the play do not. So, as in soliloquy, a character speaks to himself. As we feel as if he is talking to himself. He is pouring his heart out. For that example, even in the movies or in teleseries, you watch it. What happens that the character, he or she speaks to himself, and you get to know many things, that what exactly is going on in her head, and that might reveal the some of her intentions, that what exactly she had in her mind while taking a particular step. And in a side, what happens that a character might have a hidden something in the play. The playwright might have the character reveal the location of the hidden object to the audience, but of course the other characters on stage are oblivious to it. So in a side, a person comes, as the very name suggests, in a side it comes and then speaks directly to the audience. While the other characters cannot hear him, but he actually speaks to the audience. While in soliloquy, what happens that though the audience can hear him, they can listen to him, but he doesn't show as if he is talking to the audience. He gives the impression as if he is talking to himself. So that's the basic difference. And if you would like to quote some of the examples, then you can go ahead with the plays of Shakespeare. And in fact, all of his tragedies have wonderful soliloquies, and the most celebrated ones you will be finding in Macbeth, King Lear, Hamlet, or Othello. So you can study them, and it would really help you understand the soliloquy concept better. For example, in Macbeth, when Lady Macbeth is guilt-stricken because she had committed a murder, or she was privy to a murder with her husband Macbeth, and when she's guilt-stricken and she gets frequent attacks of schizophrenia, so what happens that she keeps rubbing her hands, and she goes senile, she goes mad, and she keeps saying that all the perfumes Arabia won't be able to sweeten this little hand. They won't be able to clean her of the blood which is there on the hands. So this soliloquy gives us the exact picture of her mind, that what exactly is going on in her head, that she's having the pranks of conscience now after committing a great crime. So the gravity of her action, the enormity of the outcome, is well emphasized with the help of the soliloquy. Well, I hope the concept of soliloquy and aside are clear to you, and both the literary terms will be of help to you while appreciating your drama, and you will be able to locate the terms in their practical uses, that how these devices are used in your drama, and the underlying difference will be very much clear to you while reading your dramas. On this note, I'll conclude this video, and in our next video we'll discuss few more literary terms. Thank you so much for your patient listening.